be on a desk?
All right. I don't care. Shh. All right. Everybody in here should have a complete set of the fraction pieces. We're going to go over some of the problems that you're going to be required to do in class tomorrow. So for those of you that stayed, you're going to be in good shape. You should have your book out. You should have pulled out page 199, 200, because we're going to go over some of the problems for that page. That will help you.
199.
199, 200.
Woo!
Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the fraction pieces to add fractions with unequal denominators. If you're talking, you're sitting in the hall. If you're talking, you're sitting in the hall. If you're going to be disruptive, you're out.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to look first at problem number 11 on page 199. Problem number 11 on page 199. And that problem says 5, 6 plus 112.
I figured it out, Mr. McMurdo.
Good. Let me show everybody.
Good job.
Okay, so we start off with our fraction strips. We're going to start off with 1. That's going to tell me if my fraction is less than, greater than, or equal to 1. Might make my life real easy. Since my problem is 5, 6, and 1/12, I want to put 5, 6 up on there below it. So I have 5, 6, and I'm adding 1/12. I have 5, 6, and I'm adding 1/12. Lawrence.
The bottom is,
Okay, let me show through it because I know what you're going to tell me, but I don't want to get to that point quite yet. I want to show just with the pieces.
yes.
So now I'm looking at this. Since 5, 6, and plus 1/12 is less than 1, that tells me I'm going to have a proper fraction. I'm going to have a proper fraction. So now I need to find, and what it said in the book, when you started on page 195, what it said is you needed to try and match up this exact length with the pieces here so that you would have a common denominator. So you couldn't put a fourth, and then a fifth, and then an eighth. You have to have all the same denominators. So can I use my halves? If I put halves up here, can I make it equal exactly this far?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, 2 halves is too
I
big.
thought that you meant the whole bar.
1/2, no. This is what I'm adding. This is just to help me tell if I'm going to have less than, greater than, or equal to 1. So my halves won't work. Let's try my thirds.
Yep. Mr. McMurdo, can I say a strategy I've learned?
Yeah, but I don't want to do that strategy yet. Okay, I need everybody, and especially those that are going to watch it later, to understand how to use the bars to find it. And then I'll show you, I'm going to do the normal algorithm with it as well, with each problem. Yeah. Okay, so, can I use my thirds? No. Let's see if I can use my fourths.
No.
No.
They're not even
Not going to
even.
work.
They weren't even.
No. My fifths.
No.
No, fifths aren't going to work.
What?
6 are up there. And again, I start with my biggest ones, my biggest denominators, before I get to my smallest ones, with the bigger numbers, because I want to see if the bigger the denominators I have here, the less simplifying I'm going to have to be. Does that one work?
No.
No. It's too short.
Close. Wait,
Here's
the
my
10
tenths.
You're missing a 10. No. One. Yeah, you missed one.
Okay, it's tenths going to work.
No.
No, because I need to exactly equal this.
What if you got the 8? Yeah, 8. Try 8.
I already tried 8.
Yeah, and 12.
Let's try my 12s.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. So my 12ths work.
Wait, no.
Yes.
No, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it does.
Look, let me. Can I?
No, don't show me anything yet.
No. It's off.
It works. Okay, so if I look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the same as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 twelfths. Those two fractions are equivalent. So 5, 6, and 10 twelfths are equivalent. So my common denominator is going to be 12. That's going to be my common denominator. This one's already over 12. Yes, ma'am.
Wait.
Mr. McMurdo, can I give a strategy that works for this?
Not right now. Let me work through some.
Wouldn't it be 11? Because 12.
Yes, but look, you're answering a different question. I want to figure out what 5, 6 equals. 5, 6 is 10 of the 12s. 1/12 is 1/12.
Yeah.
Because now I have a common denominator, so that means now I can add them together. Once I have a common denominator, I can add them together. You learned that last year. And 10/12 plus 1/12 is class, anybody, everyone? 11/12.
Sorry, I'm busy. Wait, what?
Yes, Lawrence.
Can I explain how you got to 10, 12?
No, I'm going to do that right now.
Ah,
Now, if we use just the standard algorithm, this shows us visually so you can see what it looks like as you do it. But if I just use the standard algorithm, 5, 6 plus 1/12, it's going to involve some of what we've been learning. First of all, they don't have the same denominator. I need to find the least common multiple for my denominators. And we had a sheet where we practiced least common multiple. We had 2 of them. So my denominators are 6 and 12. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to list my multiples of 6 and my multiples of 12 until I find the least common multiple, which is what, Ashley?
12.
12. So now that's my least common multiple, also called my least common denominator when I'm using it in fractions. Now I got to figure out, I'm going to multiply this by a fraction that equals 1. And what do I multiply by, Lawrence?
So here's just this strategy. Here's just a tip. Whatever you do to the bottom, do to the top.
Good. So I'm going to multiply here. And if I multiply something by 1, it's not going to change the value. So Mia, what am I going to put here? 2 over 2. Awesome.
Wait, how did she get that?
Because 6 times 2 is 12.
And then 5 times
And if I went over here, 6 times 2 is 12. And I've already decided that 12 was my least common denominator.
But didn't we already decide that it was 11/12?
Yeah, but that's using this. Now I'm doing the standard algorithm. I'm just showing if you just did the math. And so 5 times 2 is 10. This one's already over 12. And 11/12.
Wait,
So that's for number 11.
how come? Okay, so you did the bar graph
No,
and then the standard algorithm, but somehow on one you got 11. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
But also, if on the bar on the bar graph thingy-mabobber, can you instead of you doing it sideways, can you just add another 12?
Mr. McMurdo.
I guess if you wanted to.
I mean, because when it goes 6, 12, not,
Yeah.
or like 12, 24.
Yep.
Why are there
So
hands?
the answer is 11, 12.
I don't know. The answer to that one is 11/12. All right, number 10.
Someone's banging back there.
Okay, number 10. I have 7/10 plus 1/2. So I need... No. 7/10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7/10 plus 1/2.
Wow. No. Yeah.
7/10 plus 1/2.
It's like 1/8 off.
Okay, 7/10 plus 1/2. Now I need to figure out. Let's start off with Justin. Is my answer going to be less than or greater than 1? Greater than 1. Because it sticks out farther than 1. Which means I'm going to get an improper fraction when I'm done, but then I can change my improper fraction to a mixed number. Alright, so now I need to find
Mine's up.
what I can use that would fit exactly here. And I can tell what it is because I know my least common multiple for 2 and 10 is going to be 10. because I know that. So if I do this, if I say this right here is 7/10. Does everybody see why that's 7/10?
Yeah.
And I know this because I know my halves. I know a half is how many tenths?
2, 5,
5/10. So then this part is 5/10. So I know I had 7/10, so that's going to stay 7/10. I need to change this to 5/10. So I have 7/10 plus 5/10, which is going to get me what, Janelle?
7 tenths is 14.
Not 14 tenths.
I want to find the bottom.
12 tenths.
Wait, I'm confused. What were you doing?
Well, you weren't paying attention, so it's no
Yes,
wonder
I-
you're confused. So
My eyes were on the board at the whole.
So it's 12
they
tenths.
weren't on the board the whole time. Okay, so I end up with 12 tenths. If I have 12 of these tenth pieces. Okay, so let's start off. I can have them.
How?
That's what I'm trying to show you. So here I have 10 tenths, right? But I want 12 tenths. Well, 10 tenths, if we start at 0, I'm going to say it still starts there. I'm going to have 1 whole and how many tenths?
But I don't get how we got 12 tenths.
Because you weren't watching.
I.
I'm going to show you the algorithm too. So hopefully you'll watch that. So how much does this equal then? 1 and how many tenths? 2 tenths. 2 tenths is also equal to 1/5. So our simplified answer would be 1 1/5.
9 plus 8 is...
Nothing to do with what we're doing.
I know, but it's
What?
17.
I know. I still don't know how you got it.
I know.
1 and 1. Can we explain what the problem is?
Now if I did this using the standard algorithm, so if I use 7 tenths plus 1/2,
Okay, we're on number 2.
7 tenths plus 1/2. I need to find the least common denominator, or least common multiple. And my two denominators are 10 and 2. So if I used my multiplication chart, and I went down, and I went, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 is my least common denominator. So I changed these so they're both over 10. This is already over 10. Stop. Peyton, what do I multiply 2 by to get 10?
2 times 5, so 5 this.
5/5. And 1 times 5 is 5. And that gives me 12 tenths.
What problem are we on?
We're still on number 10.
But, so the answer is 1 1/5?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
But
Now, if it's an improper fraction, the algorithm is, remember I told you a fraction is a division problem. So what this is actually saying is 12 divided by 10. Mia, you with me? 12 divided by 10. So if I take 12 divided by 10, and for the little kids, I always say the top dog gets the house. For those little kids, that'll tell you that the numerator is always going to go as the dividend.
the numerator
10 goes into 12 one time.
Yeah. Remainder 1.
I have one remainder 2, which is 1. And this is my 2. And this is my denominator, 1 and 2 tenths. But wait, there's more. Because we have to simplify 2 tenths. And that means we find the greatest common factor of 2
Oh my
and 10.
Can I do these?
Okay, you're going to have to go out if you're just going to talk. Okay, the greatest common factor is, what's the biggest one they have in common? Biggest factor they have in common? 2. So I divide my numerator and denominator by 2, and I'm going to get 1 and 1/5. See, fractions aren't hard. Fractions take a lot of steps. And that's where I get a lot of the blowback and kickback and whining from students, because they do take a lot of steps.
Can I share an easier way?
No. Number 9, we have 1/8 plus 3/4.
So it's 2, 12, 10.
You were staring out the window. So. Okay, so we do it the same way. We start with 1. This is going to tell us if we're going greater than or less than 1 as my answer. So, what do you need, Lawrence?
Can I go to the restroom?
I don't care. 1/8 plus 3/4.
Less.
So my answer is going to be less than 1. So it is going to be a proper fraction.
0.
Now I need to figure out what I can have that's going to be exactly this. And if I know my least common denominator, which is going to be what? I don't know why you guys want to pee during tutoring. Then don't come if you're just going to spend your time in the bathroom. What would be my least common denominator? Kayla? For 8 and 4.
8 and 4.
It's on your hair.
8 times 1, 2 is 16, 24, 32, 44, 8, 12, 6. Oh, look. 8's my common denominator, so 8's going to be the pieces that I use. I need to figure out how many 8's. Red, are you paying attention at all?
Yeah, you dropped a bunch of times.
How many 8's this
Not
is going
at
to
all.
equal? Okay, then don't come back tomorrow
What? Tomorrow.
if you're not going to pay attention.
But I'm doing math.
Okay, so this matches up exactly. So I know 1/8 and 3/4 is going to equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 eighths.
4 8.
That's the answer?
Wait,
Yes.
I got 4 8. So
Then you got it wrong.
7 8 for what? How do
Number
you get?
9.
How do you get a 7? How do you get a 7?
Because there are 7 of these eighths.
Ow.
That's why I'm using the pieces, but you're busy playing with the pieces
I'm
instead of...
not playing with them. I
Do
know-
what?
I want
The standard algorithm. Good.
I want number 5.
Shh. And we're doing number 9. So that's not helping if you're not doing the proper doing.
Oh.
So we had 1/8 plus 3/4. Our standard algorithm, first we have to find our least common denominator, which Kayla already helped us with. And so our least common denominator is 8. Because I found my least common multiple of my two denominators, which are 4 and 8. I did that over here. 4, 8, 12, 16, 8, 16, 24. 8's the least one they have in common. So I have to change these so they're both over 8.
That's weird. They came back at the same time.
This is already over 8. This, I have to change so it's over 8. So what am I going to multiply by here? Oh, let's say Ashley.
2.
So I'm going to multiply 2 over 2. 2 over 2 equals 1. If you multiply something by 1, it doesn't change the value. So 3/4 times 2 over 2 gives me
6.
6/8. So 3/4 is equal to 6/8, and we proved that right here.
No.
3/4 is equal to 6/8. That's
Wait.
what we proved with the picture.
Oh, yeah.
Then, just like we got in the picture when we had all of these together, we got 7/8. Lawrence.
So, what did I miss?
What?
What did I miss?
I don't know what you missed. We have number 8, 3/5 plus 3/10.
Number 9 is
3/5 plus 3/10. So we're on 8. 3/5 plus 3/10. Please stop. I've asked you twice.
me?
Okay, so we start with our fifths, which are green ones. We have 3/5. And then we have 3/10, which are the purple.
Go purple.
3/5 plus 3/10. Less than or greater than 1? Less. Less than 1, because there's this space. This is 1, and 3/5 plus 3/10 doesn't go all the way to 1. So obviously it's less than 1. Okay, so now I need to find the pieces that would stretch out and go all the way through here. I can use my least common denominator of 5 and 10 to give me a clue. So it would be my least common denominator for 5 and 10. Anyone? 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 10. Because if I did my least common denominator, 5, 10, 15, 20, 10, 20, 30. You see the 10 is what they have in common. So that's going to help me out and tell me the pieces I need to use. And so I'm going to figure out.
But that's not enough.
Now I know how much does 3/5 equal?
2, 4, 6 tenths.
6/10.
Boom. Shakalaka.
This is already over 10, so this is then becomes 3/10.
Whoa.
Boom. Shakalaka.
Boom, shakalaka. 3/10 plus 6/10 is
Dude,
9/10.
Do you really like zombies?
I do.
Yeah.
Those zombies.
And the cool thing on The Walking Dead, the other day they played a Weird Al song on The Walking Dead, which
Al song?
Weird Al, he's my favorite.
My brother
Oh,
that.
did he count as zombies? Yeah.
Oh, and Jai, I want
can't
some
believe he
donuts.
put the Asian guy.
So I'm going to tell you that part of what you're going to do tomorrow is 1 through 10. So hopefully you're following along.
Wait, what was the
Number 7 is 1/3 plus 5/6.
what was that?
I can't remember. 1/3 plus 5/6. I'm not going to tell you all if you're not going to pay attention.
I was totally paying attention.
1/3
I paid attention.
and 5/6.
Equals. Sorry, please tell me
Never
what
mind.
it was.
Dang it! Well, it's not my fault. I keep on dropping stuff.
And I don't get up. I know the answer.
Now we can tell what the answer to this is.
I know the answer.
Stop. We can tell what the answer to this is without doing any math at all. Because if this equals 1, 1/3 plus 4/6 equals 1. So it is going to be 1 and 1/6.
See, that one is greater than
Because this right here
is equal.
is equal to 1. So all of this here is 1, but we had 5/6, not 4/6 is the problem.
Wait, so that's
So if that's 1, if this is 1, I add that there, it's 1 and 1/6.
Can I go pack my bag?
I don't care. Put your stuff up first.
So that's another 6. So that's like
1 and 1/6. That's like 7/6. That'd be the same as 7/6. Lawrence,
what was number 8?
I don't remember.
Number 8 was
No, quiet. If y'all want the answers, then pay attention or watch the video again later. Number 6 is 1/4 plus 2/3. Again, I'm going to start with my 1/4.
After this one, I'm gonna have to go.
I'm going to take my 2/3. And I'm going to have an answer that is less than or greater than 1. Less than or greater than 1. Anybody? No?
Yeah.
Less.
Less.
Now, if I do something else, another trick I can do if I have the pieces is I can figure out how much less than 1 it is. Well, is it 1/10 less than 1? No, that's too big. Is it 1/16 less than 1? No, that's too small. It is 1/12 less than 1.
Yeah.
So that means this all equals how many? If this is 1/12 right here, and this plus 1/12 equals 1, how much is 1/4, 1/3, and 1/3?
Oh, it's 10 out of 12. 10 out of 12.
Oh, never mind.
I'm teaching Justin. If you need to do anything else, then just leave. I don't care.
No, I don't need it. I just need it. Can I say something?
What do you want to say?
So, like, for the multiples, I say, you have the multiples of 3. For, like,
So my answer here is 11, 12.
For, like, the multiples of 6, there's, it's going to be 2 3s because 2 times 3 equals 6. So it's going to equal 2 3s.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so I gotta go.
All right, so you should have 6, 7, 8,
Yep.
9, and 10. So you should have 5 of them done on your own. Fairly easy.